Look, you know, the Al-Qaeda that bin Laden led shortly before and after 9/11 no longer exists. Okay, the United States after 9/11 got really good at counterterrorism. We got really good at it. And we have killed or captured every operative, with the exception of one, that was involved in 9/11. What has that done to the threat landscape, though? It's become much more diffuse. Okay, how do you monitor what's going on social media, what people are watching on YouTube, or what they're tweeting on Twitter? How do you stop a 15-year-old boy or girl from watching violent jihadist videos and being inspired to repeat what the Tsarnaev brothers did in the Boston Marathon bombing? How do you stop that? Our traditional intelligence methods and collection methods are no longer sufficient. What it requires, in many cases, is public awareness and public involvement. And so as I stand up here as the Director of Homeland Security, I ask you that if you see something, say something. And I'd even go beyond that. If you know something, tell someone. A lot of the leads that we've gotten, and I'm saying this for a fact, although I can't go into more detail, we have been able to stop people from dying, literally, attacks from happening in this region from just a tip. And it makes a difference. And the public in this new threat landscape is often our first line of defense. We are actively engaged also with the interfaith community. We, as an office, work with the state police and the Office of the Attorney General to go out and meet with religious leaders and try to build relationships of trust with them so they feel confident coming forward and talking to us. The initial impulse of law enforcement is not to arrest people, okay? It's not to go out there and, despite what you see on the TV and in the media, we're not looking to surveil and listen to your telephone calls or read your emails. That's what the hackers want to do. What we want to do is create relationships in the community. And if someone might be going down the wrong path, you got to let us know, you got to let someone know. Because in many cases, what we are seeing across the country, I'll tell you, there's been about 70 arrests since the beginning of the year across the country, ISIS-related domestic terrorists, 70 across the country, okay? The new demographic for the individuals who have been arrested are not necessarily military-aged males, as it used to be. 18 to 35. We're looking at 15 to 19 years old. Okay? People who saw what the Tsarnaev brothers did and are now inspired to do something similar. And this is very difficult because the government can't get into homes and, you know, ask parents why they're not parenting properly or what their kids are watching on the internet. All right, so again, the public is often the first line of defense. And we would be happy to, if any of your businesses require it, either for your employees or for your constituents or your customers, to send intelligence analysts out to you or to anyone who you think it might be helpful and do more in-depth intelligence briefings for you about what we're seeing throughout the state and how we interact with the other different state agencies. So, in a nutshell, that's what we're doing. And I didn't want to stand up here. I was told I had 35 minutes. No one wants to listen to me talk for 35 minutes, believe me. I can see all of you already like, oh my God. But I wanted to leave time for questions. I'm heard this is a lively group. So, and that's what Peter and John told me. So I hope that you have some questions, and I'm ready to take them. Sir, yes.
What tipped off that company that there was an issue with the emails? How did they get alerted?
Their computers started acting funny. Yeah. I can't really go into more detail than that, but the computer started acting a little bit funny. Yeah, on their laptops.
And can you give us the free security things that we should all have on our personal and maybe office computers?
So I will say, we're talking about advertising and all that. Cyber.nj.gov. Easy to remember, right? Cyber.nj.gov. On there has toolkits recommendations for even online shopping. And I know I saw a lot of people with the online shopping thing. Online shopping and just your own personal internet activity and presence. It's very important. Yes, sir.
We have, you were talking
I'm going to come over here.
See something, say something.
Yes.
We have 911 for emergencies. We have 311 for information. Why don't we have
211? It's 211.
Is it 211?
It's 211 to report suspicious activity.
I've never heard that before.
I want to ask you a speculative question. If you were here 5 or 10 years from now, what things would be different? What would you be saying about the nature of homeland security and preparedness at that time?
Yeah, this is a great point. Actually, we are in my office now. We have just stood up a unit that is actually looking at what the homeland security landscape will look like in 5 to 10 years. They're kind of our internal think tank to think about these big issues. So what I would say is, and you know, let's say, for example, I'm looking back on 5 years as director, and what are the things that I want to position the office to be a service to the state. Cybersecurity is here to stay. I think that that's going to become, I think that will surpass counterterrorism as the leading threat to the country and to our infrastructure, because it's an asymmetric form of warfare, right? There are countries that cannot compete with us conventionally, militarily, that will use cyber attacks as a vector to weaken the United States. I think that the terrorist threat in the country will only become more diffuse, which will require law enforcement, intelligence, and homeland security to work even closer together. So one of my goals as director is to begin to embed my officers in other agencies, not only within New Jersey, but outside of our state. Because what happens in New York or Virginia or Maryland or Delaware matters for what happens, or in California, matters for what happens here in New Jersey. So creating those links, the states themselves will need to become more integrated and not rely on the federal government to be the arbiter of intelligence and information sharing. So we need to begin to build those bonds. So I think that it's really positioning ourselves to be agile and flexible, which is not a characteristic of government, but I think we can position ourselves with the right people, the right resources, strategic planning to be able to adjust ourselves, because we don't know whether, God forbid, another Boston Marathon bombing happens in Jersey City or in Hoboken. But what we can prepare ourselves for is, if, God forbid, something like that did happen here in New Jersey, we would be ready to respond. And we drill and we train and we make sure lines of communication are open with the federal government and with our state partners. And that's where I want to get us to. Because, you know, there might be threats that we haven't even thought about yet. So, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
A couple of quick notes, and then we'll get to some really amazing door prizes. I got to be honest. Alice has gone above and beyond door prizes today. But I want to thank Your Town Tube again for what they do supporting us. They have a brand new website, and they are the #1 video website in this Central Jersey region. So if you have a chance to go look at them, Your Town Tube, and they thank them for everything you guys do for us. We really appreciate it. Also, we just passed 250,000 pages on our website of page views, and that's really quite a note for us. So Alice has been doing a great job on website advertising. If you would like to get involved with our website and some advertising, we reach a whole Central New Jersey market. We now have just under 1,200 clients, and I think by the time we see you next month, or at least the month after, we'll have passed that number based on Christine Kernan's success in new membership retention and growth. So please talk to Alice if you're interested in website. Thank you all for all the support you give us. We are only as good as our clients and all that you all use sitting here. So thank you all very much for what you do. Thank you.